Well, I think because, after the 4 years of university, we are not there anymore to help the students. So I think from day one, we need to really empower the students to be independent learners, because they need to learn later on in their life also to keep this on. And I always say, we get these people, they're 17, 18, 19 years old. They come from school where they just spent 12, 13 years in a bench and somebody was talking in front. These people are very smart, they're stimulated, they're intelligent. Now give them the chance to develop as persons, as personalities. We have done this a few years ago. We created a liberal arts and science college, where students with their tutors can put together their own curriculum. Because another thing is when a student is today coming to university, he or she doesn't know probably, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be an engineer, and so on. So we give them the choice also to develop hybrid programs. A student may come in, I'm interested in philosophy and in computer science, so they can combine these courses. And in this liberal arts and science program, there are some core courses that everybody has to take, such as the history, world history, philosophy of science, ethics, and whether you want to become an engineer or a biologist or a business person, you have to take these courses. And this is the trend that we see, that we also in other programs will have this more, I call it holistic integration of different areas and things that are important as a citizen active in society. Well, I used to work at a very old university, and so I can the difference. I used to work in the Charité in Berlin, which is more than 300 years old. And if you are in a administrative or management position, you probably can change course if you push very hard on the wheel, a bit to the left or a bit to the right. And the young university, it's still growing, has still ideas. So for us, it is in my view easier to really develop new things. One of the things we developed is as we know that engineering and the hard sciences are extremely male dominated. A large percentage of students are male. We started with a kind of liberal arts oriented science program, where we give also the students flexibility. They say, I want to do something with sciences, but I don't know whether I want to be material engineering or a mathematician or a computer scientist. And this kind of flexible approach to guide students to a discipline also led that we have 50% females in this program. This is something that we can do much easier than in a kind of old-fashioned crusted university, because as a young university still, all the staff that comes to us not because Maastricht is a beautiful city, which is true, but because they are intrigued by our educational philosophy. And that is different, I would say, in institutions that are more established and older in Europe. As Maastricht, with our European city, we said we need to really rethink the European university. And university is a European invention, if we say like that, and everybody talks about the ideas of Wilhelm von Humboldt. I used to work at the Humboldt University in Berlin, and he has of course had fantastic contributions, but I think he also was developing these ideas in a very centralistic state, with very elitist ideas. His idea of the university was a university only for the elite. I think today, where a lot more students go into university, we have to rethink this concept. So we were triggered by this call, and we said, let's put a group of young universities, one of those universities that, like we are, is more flexible to brainstorm on ideas. And we came up with this idea that higher education today needs to be accessible, it needs to be inclusive, and we coined this sentence, we want to be excellent but not elitist. And that doesn't mean that everybody should go to university, no. I mean, there's also a place for schools of applied science and vocational training, but everybody who should get access to university should have that possibility based on his or her talent, not on the wealth of their parents, or the old boys or girls network that is available. So this was our idea. We are the new kids on the block. We are all universities that are under 50 years. And we throw out this idea to create, in a pilot, an open space where students can really follow in courses wherever they are, and we want to do this in an integrative way. So this was our idea, and there were like 54 applications submitted for university alliances between 5 and 8 universities, and we got the highest score of all. We got 97 out of 100 points. I never got such a high score in a grant, because we really triggered something in Europe that we say, let's rethink education from the educational spirit, from the quality, and from many things. I talked of the ideas that we have in Maastricht, that next to education we also need to provide active citizens for society. So that's what we're doing with this network or alliance. You know, design that we want to have some courses that you can begin your course in Rome, do the next block in Madrid, and then follow it up in Cyprus. And of course you can do it across the university. It's a pilot program, but you know, we designed some themes. One is of course Europe, the future of Europe, everything that courses about Europe, the digital society. These are courses that are present in all these universities, sustainability, and also citizen science. So we designed some topics in the beginning to see how this open course can work. And then we will evaluate it after 3 years. So it's a pilot, and the idea is, if a positive evaluation, then a number of university alliances can get also what we call a European statute, that you're not only a national university, but also have a European label. I think number one, you have to have some sort of cultural understanding and understanding that people are different, have different backgrounds, different needs. And in our international classroom that we employ in Maastricht in our youth network, we try to create that atmosphere. Number two, we need to get rid of the idea of inequality, which is very difficult. It's a long-term process. But if we give our students the tools, for example, with global citizenship, education, where we train them in certain, not only knowledge about these facts, but also about, again, the skills that you need to address this, then you have probably make a good contribution. A lot of our graduates work in NGOs and are active also in the next to their studies in this area. So it's a long-term process, but in the end, I think the solution to populism and nationalism is knowledge. It is providing education, getting smart people, getting a generation back that is not depending on tweets as a knowledge base. So it's a long-term project, but we call this, you know, the Maastricht generation. These are not students from Maastricht. These are students who are born after 1992. They have never seen Europe without borders. To them, Europe means something else to the people, the 50-plussers who voted for Brexit largely. So we need to build up this new knowledge base, and we need to do it bottom up, and we need to have, of course, it's a long-term perspective. You can't resolve this tomorrow, but you have to put something, an alternative on the ground to an alternative for nationalism and populism based on knowledge and based on understanding and based on cultural skills. Well, it's very hard to predict the future, as you know, but I think that higher education will have a lot more variety, both for the universities but also for the students. You know, we move away. I mean, we're still living in a system that is campus-based, where students go to universities. It's one-to-one contact. I think, given the fact of technological innovations, of students that are extremely skilled in techniques that their teachers are not, and the possibility to you know, more choose your own and modify your own courses, I think we'll have a more holistic way of approaching this. It will be a lot more variety, it will be a mix of technology and classical campus-based orientation. And it probably will also something that educational modules will not be put into a 4-year or 3-year context, but will also probably be spread more towards the life. What's the value of a degree? So I think universities, and I think you need to adapt to this and need to be develop into academic communities where all these different aspects can flourish. So it will be a much more complexer task to organize university than now. It's still a one-size kind of system, so we will have more variety.